Well, a big hello once again, everybody, to watching the show. Another edition of Pick Your Politics is online today. We've got a returning guest. You're probably quite familiar with her and her name. She is currently a mayoral candidate for the city of Las Vegas, and quite an interesting story. Shelly is a businesswoman. She is a politician, of course, and she's also an attorney. Okay, and that's always good. She served as the United States representative for Nevada's first congressional district from 1999 to 2013. Shelly just recently finished her tenure as Senior Vice President of the Touro University System, which I know a lot of you are very familiar with. Also, too numerous to mention, but she has been a member of committees and boards, and you name it, they want Shelly on. Again, too many to really mention, but she's done the heavy lifting on that part as well. So right now it's my pleasure to reintroduce Ms. Shelly Berkley, again, candidate for mayor of the great city of Las Vegas. And this is turning out to be quite a race.
Oh my goodness, it's been so much fun. And I have to remind you, Dennis, although you probably remember, the very first podcast I did when I announced that I'm running for mayor, right here with you. Yeah. And then I came back again. Yep. This is my third time. What is that, a hat trick?
That's a hat trick.
That's a hat trick.
Yeah.
And so I'm just delighted to be back, and thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, anytime. I was asking you before, all of you guys are busy, because when you run for office, it's 24/7.
Yes,
it's not go home, sleep,
Serving
whatever.
It's 24/7.
Yeah,
too.
it's a lot of work. And where do you get your energy?
Well, I'm just lucky. I enjoy very good health, and I have a lot of energy. And frankly, running for office has given me more energy because there's a purpose and a mission.
Right.
And I think I must feed off the people that I'm meeting with because everybody has been so encouraging and supportive. I was at Smith's the other day because there's no food in my house anymore. I thought I better put something in my refrigerator. And so I'm walking around Smith's, and people are coming over to me and saying, good luck, and we're voting for you. And I think that is the best poll possible, is when you're out in the public and people are coming over and praising you.
Oh, absolutely.
That it was a good feeling.
No,
so
that's a
I
great
feel
feeling.
good about it. And also, I'll tell you this, because I got such a kick out of it. The 100 Black women had a candidates forum a few nights ago. Now, there were a lot of people, not necessarily for mayor. I only think there were two mayoral candidates on the podium. There must have been about 20, maybe more candidates. And so many of them were saying, I can't wait to get to the primary. I hope I win in the primary. I'm just exhausted. And I'm looking around. I'm definitely the oldest person there, and I'm feeling really good. And so I understand.
Great.
Yeah, I understand that it is very grueling.
Yeah.
But I think you got to have an attitude that this is great stuff. You're getting to meet your fellow constituent or fellow Las Vegans, and hopefully these are the people you're going to be representing after the election. So I feel really good about it.
Yeah, you're in it to win it.
I'm in it to win it.
Otherwise, don't get in it.
Yeah, look, at my stage, and after having served in 30 years in public office, in different offices, I mean, if you're not in it to win it, if you don't like people, if you can't keep up a grueling pace, this is the
You're in
wrong
the wrong
profession.
business, yeah.
You bet it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And as a congresswoman, you were very involved, like I say, in multitudinous committees, different assignments, especially with Jewish affairs and governments.
Yes.
What are your thoughts now on what the heck is going on
Yeah.
with these universities and these campuses, including our very own UNLV?
Yes, you know my background. We've known each
Yeah,
other for
long time.
decades. But my grandparents fled Europe in order to escape the Nazis, and came to America to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And if it hadn't been for America, I guarantee, Dennis, I wouldn't be sitting here
Yeah.
because my parents would have never been born.
Yeah.
And then I never would have existed. So to see this now, in our country, where the rise of anti-Semitism is
Unbelievable.
outrageous,
Unbelievable.
and after October 7th, and this is so unbelievable to me, Israel was attacked. It was an unprovoked, savage attack. 1,400 innocent Israelis, not in the IDF, not any official capacity other than they happened to be there, were slaughtered. Raped, slaughtered,
Yeah.
beheaded, and then another
horrible.
250 were taken hostage and
Horrible.
are in unbelievably horrible
Yeah.
conditions.
Yeah.
And people are blaming Israel and the Jews
I
for
know.
that. I think it's outrageous. And if I were president of an institution right now, students, you go back to class or you're going to be expelled.
Yeah.
Faculty, this is not academic freedom. Academic
Right.
freedom is you get to talk about very provocative issues in your classroom. It's not giving you license to go
Correct.
out there
No,
and
well said.
Horrible. And
Well
for
said.
anybody that doesn't belong on campus, you get arrested,
Yep.
and not arrested and released, Dennis. You get arrested and you get incarcerated
Right,
until a
right.
judge gets to determine what your fate is. And why we are treating these people with kid gloves is amazing to me. And the level of ignorance, a very anti-Semitic trope is from the river to the sea,
Right.
which means the elimination
Right.
of the state of Israel. When I was listening to interviews on television with the students that are yelling from the river to the sea, and the commentator says, well, what river are you talking about? What sea? They don't know. Might as well be Lake Mead.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know what river, what sea.
No, you're right. You're right.
And they don't know what that means.
Yeah.
It's shocking. Shocking.
I know it's incredible. Are you conflicted at all with the decisions that Netanyahu is making?
Oh, sure.
Hey, let's slow down. Let's try to get this peace accord worked out. No, these guys deserve to be eliminated, and I agree, from the face of the earth for what they did.
Yeah, and not only for that, Hamas is a terrorist organization funded in large part by Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Their mission is not to help the Palestinian people. That is just a ruse.
Yeah.
Their mission and their charter says it's the elimination of the
Right.
state of Israel.
Right.
So Israel has every right
Yep.
to go in and get rid of Hamas.
Yep.
And they'd be doing the Palestinian people a favor too.
Yeah.
Do I have sympathy for innocent Palestinian people that are caught in the crossfire? Yes, of course. But I think Hamas can be doing a lot. People don't realize, I know you do, that they've been in negotiations. They're trying to get the hostages back.
Right.
And in exchange for a
Right.
return of the hostages, the Israelis will practically clean out their jails of Palestinians who have committed crimes.
Right.
They're not in jail because the Israelis
Yeah.
felt like putting them in
Yeah.
jail, but that is how important getting those hostages back.
It's just
and an impossible situation Israel is in. You go in,
Incredible.
you're going to hurt innocent civilians. You don't go in, Hamas is going to
Right.
continue to exist. And
Yeah.
they're still attacking Israel and lobbing rockets
I
into
know,
Israel
I know.
from the Gaza.
I know.
It's insane.
I know it's totally insane with some of the stuff. Let's get a little closer to home. Most important issue right now facing the city.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, actually, I've been out in the field walking precincts, and we've been doing some polling, and I get a good feel for what's going on. These are the issues that our fellow constituents are worried about. Public safety, number one issue. How are you going to keep us safe? What is Metro going to do to protect our neighborhoods? What is your role? So that's number one. And the irony, Dennis, is that major crimes are down throughout the Las Vegas Valley, but there's still a feeling of insecurity and fear. And so I'm very close to Kevin McMahill.
Right.
And I'm not saying, this is not an endorsement from him. I'm just saying that we are
Oh,
close.
you already got that from Jill, so that's
Yeah.
fine. And if you haven't seen Shelly's new TV commercials featuring Metro, keep an eye out because they're really very well done.
Thank you.
Really,
I'll tell my campaign manager that.
very well done.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. I haven't seen them on TV yet, but I saw a cut of them
Mm-hmm.
on my iPhone. Not that great, but it is. They look good to me.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens as time unfolds because there are other commercials coming.
Yeah.
That public safety, homelessness. Everybody is very upset, and understandably so, about the homeless and what we're going to do about it. Number 3, affordable housing.
Right.
And then we deal with these issues, and then we move on to economic growth and development.
Right.
Because the next 10 years are going to be explosive in the city of Las Vegas, throughout southern Nevada. Tremendous growth, tremendous prosperity. We need to make sure that everybody who wants to share in that prosperity gets the
Well,
opportunity.
that's funny because my next question
Oh.
was the same thing, most important issue facing not only the city, but southern Nevada as a whole.
Yes, and pretty much the same. I think what I bring to the table is that, look, I've got federal experience, obviously.
Right.
I was in Congress for 7 terms. I've got state experience. I served in the Nevada State Assembly, local experience, and I know everybody in town. There isn't a person that I could call that won't pick up the phone for me. I think it's time that all of the government entities start collaborating, working together for the good of our all of us. People don't recognize that if you cross Sahara on the Strip, you're now in the county.
Right.
I mean, but I know that I have a good friendship and working relationship with the county commissioners, with the city council in Henderson, city council and mayor in North Las Vegas. Let us work together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. And one of the things I love, Dennis, this may be your next question. This is not a Republican or a Democratic race. It is a nonpartisan
Nonpartisan.
race. And I love that. I think it's refreshing. I am in the business of getting things done. And it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you have a pothole that you need fixing, you need to have someone in the mayor's seat that can do that for you.
Well, yeah.
And, that just knows how to get things done, and that's something that I pride myself on.
Well, you brought up a point. Let me deviate for a second. And that was very well said, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Shelly Berkley, our special guest on Pick Your Politics, who is running for mayor of this great city of Las Vegas. When you go out, I know you're walking, I know you're knocking on doors, you're talking to constituents, both all over, it doesn't matter where they live, as long as they're in the city. Do you get any, let me try to see if I could use the right word, pushback? That's not exactly what I mean, but any change in attitude for whatever reason, knowing when they know that you are a Democrat?
Some. And I found that very interesting. I mean, by and large, the city of Las Vegas has a preponderance of Democrats, not by a wide margin, but I think the country is so polarized right now that people want to know your party affiliation.
Yeah.
And I tell them, this is a nonpartisan race, and there's a reason for that. All of these ideological issues have no place with the mayor. You're there to do a job, to take care. Every city councilman represents their ward.
Right.
The mayor is the only elected official in the city that represents everybody. And I think the idea that it's nonpartisan, to me, is very refreshing.
Yeah.
I don't want to get mired in party politics right now. I want to do a job. And it's also what a great time of life. When I was running all those years ago, the first time I ran for the Nevada State Assembly, I was pregnant. I was working full time and running for office. So I was campaigning with 50 extra pounds. So when people say to me, well, how you doing? Are you tired? Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah.
This is a piece of cake, a walk in the park.
Yeah.
I'm not pregnant. I retired from Toro June 30th of last year.
Right.
And so I don't have to worry about punching a time clock.
Yeah.
And it's good. And all the kids are all grown and have families of their own.
Yeah.
And so
that's great.
I'm not coming home and having to make dinner and get the kids off to school. So I could devote every bit of my energy and
this.
every bit of my time to governance and working
What's your
with the
number
people.
one remembrance again at Toro? I know you had a lot of really nice
loved
experiences.
it.
I know the faculty loved you, the kids loved you, and yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I discovered that I'm a very good administrator, and I really never had the the opportunity to prove myself until I was running, Toro University. So you collaborate with people, you listen to everybody's point of view, but in the end, you are the decider, and you've got to be decisive.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, and I took that, and I had a great team with me, but that school that nobody ever heard of, to the largest and best medical school in the state of Nevada.
Yeah, you made it big time. You made it big time, yeah.
42, my last year, 4,200 applications for admission to the med school for 180 slots.
Wow.
So what that
Wow.
did is you have to be very smart, and your GPA has to be outstanding.
Yep.
I mean, with 4,200, you can be very
Gee.
choosy about who you accept into your program, and
Totally.
I'm very proud of that.
Yeah,
That's probably
that's
the
awesome.
best thing.
And you can't be squeamish about looking at a little blood too if you're going to be there.
No, if you're going into that line of work, no.
If you were given a magic wand by somebody, you take office, and what's the first thing that you would do with it to either change something or improve something?
Oh,
You've got this magic wand. Okay, here I come, sucker.
That's so funny you should mention that, because when I sit down with stakeholders in the city of Las Vegas, that's exactly what I say. If I had a magic wand, what do you need most from the city of Las Vegas? What do you need the mayor to do? And so it's funny that you should ask me that question. Look, I've been in office a long time. First, it's going to be very important for me, although I am ready to do this on day one, but I need to meet the people that make the city of Las Vegas go, or the employees.
Yeah.
So I will spend a little bit of time getting to know people, the planning department, the business license department, everything that when you go for services in the city, these are the people that serve you.
Right.
Then, as I did when I was in Congress, I'm going to set up a series of advisory committees to help advise me throughout the community. African American Advisory Committee, Hispanic Advisory Committee, veterans.
Great idea.
That's how we ended up with the VA hospital in my congressional district. I had a
great idea.
Veterans Advisory Committee, and I asked them if I could wave a magic wand, what would you like? And they wanted a mammogram. The women vets wanted a mammogram machine at the old Adelaide Del Guy Clinic, and if you had a serious problem, you had to go out of state. Somebody came over to me, and I got the mammogram machine, and somebody came over to me and said, "You need to think bigger." I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "We need a full-service VA hospital here so that our vets don't have to go to Long Beach for care."
Right.
And also, I realized we really do. We've got well over 200,000, that's back then, 200,000 veterans in the Las Vegas Valley, and all we have is a clinic. So That's why rolled up our sleeves, and that remarkable facility on 215 in Pecos
Yeah.
is the result of that. Started with an advisory committee, magic wand question.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. What's your plan you see one of your opponents on television, and I chuckle every time I see it, but to continue to generate interest in marketing
Oh, yes.
Las Vegas to people all around the world. And according to your competition, he's got that locked up 100%. And really?
Yes, I have the same reaction.
really.
I mean, how ironic. I
Yeah.
served on the Foreign Affairs Committee when I was in Congress, Middle East Subcommittee, Latin Affairs Subcommittee. I have traveled a great part of the world in my capacity as a congresswoman. There is nobody better situated to market our community to people overseas and understand the different nuances and the way you treat people that are either business people or
Right.
diplomats to encourage them to come here. I'm a big believer in sister cities where you form relationships that are mutually beneficial with cities across the planet.
Right.
And I am quite prepared to do that. And I got the same chuckle when I saw that that ad. I thought, really?
Yeah.
In what way do you have any qualifications for that?
That's what I'm saying.
So
You
I'm
say
loving it.
you grew up a block away and you work a block away. Where the hell have you been? You haven't gotten out of the city. Come on.
Well,
Get
and you know
real.
what also, I don't know whether you remember this, but when I was in Congress, I was chairman of the Transatlantic Dialogue. That's an ongoing discussion twice a year, once in the United States, once in Europe,
Right.
between Congress and the European
Yeah.
Union. And I chaired that for a number of years, so I am very well connected with a number of countries that are part of the European Union. So you go down the line, and there's a lot of issues. And what are the things we talked about? Economic growth, economic development, mutual cooperation. What can we do to strengthen this alliance? And Europe is still our biggest trading partner.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I've cultivated those relationships over decades.
Yeah. And I'm sure you hear this all the time, Shelly, when you're knocking on doors and talking to people. Things are more expensive here, folks,
Yes.
whether you're here or whether you're in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Gas, food, rent, whatever. And they probably come up to you and say, Shelly, when you are mayor, can you do anything to help us?
Look, people are having a tough time,
Yeah.
and this is a community that's doing well economically. Imagine what's going on in the rest of the country.
Wow.
I have to say, usually when you run, you're saying you have to vote for me because what's there right now is so terrible, and they're
Yeah.
I can't say that. I think the Goodmans have devoted 25 years of their collective life,
Yeah.
and they're leaving the city in very good
Good
shape.
shape, yeah.
It's financially solvent. It works. There's always things to fix and improve, but
Sure.
we have a strong economy, and it's going to get a whole lot stronger.
Yeah.
With the A's coming, I believe an NBA team is going to be coming.
Yeah,
I've
I
already
agree.
been contacted by a soccer team in Mexico that they want to.
Really?
Yes, and
Oh,
I said, well,
wow.
there's only one mayor at a time in
Yeah.
Las Vegas, so
Wow.
like come and see me, after November if I'm lucky enough to
Yeah.
win. But that's exciting too. So we have a lot. We'll be the entertainment capital of the world, the gaming capital of the world,
Yeah.
the sports capital of the world. And when I tell this to everybody, if you would have told me when I was a kid growing up in Las Vegas that ice hockey would be the hottest
know.
ticket in town, I told you
Oh,
you were out of
you're
your
nuts. Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
But it sure is, and
Yeah.
I'm very sorry about that. We came to
Yeah.
an end of our season,
Hey.
but they have really added a great deal to our community.
Yeah. They have. They're extraordinary. Bill Foley's a friend. He's a great guy. What about the people, though, that not everybody is so sports-minded that they're Looney Tunes over, I don't go to see the hockey games. I'll go to a baseball game once in a while. You know, I know Don Logan, it's a great ballpark. And with the A's coming and all of that. But some people, and I'm sure you've heard this from people saying, it's too much already. Look at what's, and I'm kind of surprised, look at what's going on with the backlash with the F1.
F1, yes, yes, yes. I have to say, and you know, Betsy Fretwell, who has held a number of positions throughout our community, has been hired by F1. So she is now in charge of F1 here in Southern Nevada.
Okay.
And I have great faith in her. But they came in and did everything wrong. I've never seen a community that welcomes people be so turned off.
Yeah.
And we certainly, even people, I did an event down in Henderson a couple of months ago. And, you know, after I make my presentation, there's always questions.
So you're
and
allowed to go
answers.
outside the city.
Well, I try not to actually, but a friend of mine had an event at their home and they invited me. And a lot of the now that these people live in Henderson, the likelihood of them being up on the strip
Yeah.
around F1 during F1, like none.
Yeah,
Yet they were
Right.
furious,
Yeah.
and I think that kind of captures the feeling of the community. They made lots of promises
Yeah.
that they did not fulfill. That a lot of businesses were hurt by it.
Right.
Other businesses did very, very
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I mean, and in total, it was a big financial boon for the city. I shouldn't say that, for Southern Nevada.
Right.
So you can't argue with the numbers.
No.
But it hurt some businesses, and people were understandably upset and
Yeah.
displaced. They had trouble getting around. I mean, I live here too. I mean,
No.
there were times I was stuck on the strip, go 2 blocks in an hour,
Yeah.
and just furious. But hopefully they can clean up their
I
act.
think they will. I
They
think
have
they
to.
will. They've learned
because
a
they
lot.
will not be welcome back.
No, they've learned a lot, and I think this coming year, when they're here towards the end of the year, is going to be a decisive.
And I think the county, the county commission understands the angst of everybody, and they're hearing it. So I think they're going to hold the F1 feet to the fire and make sure they do right by the city.
Yeah.
Which, from what I understand, people that were actually there, I avoided the strip like the plague during that time, but people that actually were there thought it was incredible.
Yeah, no,
it just Las Vegas. We know how to do these things.
we know how to do it right, exactly. All right, I mention this on the show all the time. Politicians, no matter what office they're running for, they need help. They need volunteers. They need walkers. They need people to knock on doors. They need people at events. If you have the time and you're so inclined, that almost rhymed. I didn't even
like
think
that,
of that.
yes.
Give everybody your web address so they can get in
Okay.
touch with you and say, Shelly, I want to volunteer. I want some signs in my yard. I want to walk for you, whatever. How are they going to
And
do that?
interestingly enough, we have a super walk Saturday the 11th. And so everybody is welcome to sign up. Love to have you. It's Berkley 4, the number 4, mayor.com. Berkley, the number 4, mayor.com.
Okay.
And that is the website.
Yeah.
I've got people monitoring it constantly, and we will get back to you and welcome you to participate. That would be swell.
That would be, so that's an all-day,
Probably
Super
all
walk.
morning. Yeah, it's
Okay.
starting at 9 o'clock.
yeah, all right. That's terrific. All right, what about people, they run into you at Smith's and other places, but what about people that want to get a little more up close and personal, face-to-face, ask you some stuff? You got events coming up, you got town halls, you
It's
got
all on
breakfast.
the website.
It's all on the website.
Also, there's a campaign number, and a woman, Jan, who worked for me in my congressional office, she's the receptionist in the campaign office.
Okay.
When she gets a call, she texts it to me immediately. I just spoke with somebody. I was sitting in the car before I walked into the studio, and I was returning a call from a man who had some questions. He called the campaign headquarters. reporter said, would you have the congresswoman call me? And I did. We just had a great conversation.
That's great.
Yep, we do that.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes, you
That's what
do.
it's about.
Yes, you
That's
do.
what it's all about.
Hey, if you're not going to return calls during a campaign, I guarantee you're not
Exactly.
returning it when you're in office.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Last question, before we're out of time. What do you think is the hardest part? It's a blast to do, though. What's the hardest part about being mayor?
I don't know. I'll let you know after I get elected. I can't. What an incredible opportunity to be able to be the mayor in the community in which you grew up.
Yeah.
There's 4 generations of my family have called Las Vegas home. Of course, my parents are gone now.
Yeah.
But, now I'm concentrating on the grandkids. What type of city is this going to be
Yeah.
when they're adults?
Right.
And the next 10 years are going to be pivotal to answering that question.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's like I say, and I said this before when you were on, it's okay to run for office no matter where you live. But when you're the mayor of Las Vegas, that has a special ring, a special buzz to it. And there's a responsibility for that.
And you've got a bully pulpit.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that are not in the job description of mayor, I think you can use your bully pulpit to address education, healthcare, transportation issues, all of that. I have tremendous knowledge of all of those things, and those are front and center.
Yeah.
They're not issues, obviously, that the mayor deals with. I don't run schools. I don't run, the healthcare system, but these are the things people want and they need. And when more people are going to be coming into town, they're going to demand quality health care and access to care.
Yeah.
They're going to demand a good education for their kid. They're going to demand better transportation options.
Right.
And we better be ready to
to
provide
deliver.
that.
Yeah.
You betcha.
Absolutely. One question I was thinking back on our other shows that I failed to ask you, what got you interested in law to become a lawyer?
Because my mother told me I'd be a great lawyer.
Okay, Mom.
It's very, Look, neither one of my parents graduated high school. And so I'm the first person in my family to go to college. UNLV might as well have been an Ivy League school for me. It was just opened my eyes, gave me a great education, and then I went on to law school. But interestingly enough, and remember we're going back a ways, there were not that many women in any of the professional schools. I wanted to run for office. I wanted to be a public servant.
Okay.
And I thought if I had a law degree, it would give me more credibility.
Definitely.
And that was the primary reason I went to law school, because I was
Oh, yeah.
planning to run for office.
Yeah.
And in my freshman class, 280 students, 20 of us were women. Now, I know from Touro University, when I was welcoming, in orientation with the new students, the first time I did that, I looked around, a majority of the students at Touro Medical School
were women. That's awesome.
Women.
That's
and
awesome.
I sat down after I made my presentation, and then I got back up. I said, I've got to tell you something, and this is the changing times and our changing country.
Yeah.
And so it's, look, nobody should be left behind. It shouldn't matter what gender you are, what religion you are. It's what you are qualified to do.
Right.
And then you go and do it.
Absolutely. No, that's very well said. All right, remember, Berkley, the number 4, mayor.com. All the information on there that you need to know. If you want to try to get a hold of her, you want to have an event at your home, a little meet and greet and stuff.
But in the city of Las Vegas.
But within the city of Las.
Yes.
Yeah, not out of, if you live you're out in Boulder City, forget it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we
much
love
as
you.
I
And
love
don't
Boulder
forget to
City.
invite the media, because they love to come and eat too. But anyway, that's, thank you so much for coming on again.
I'm stuck.
You okay?
Yeah.
I know that you're just
There you
incredibly
go.
busy.
There you go.
And
Thanks a lot, Dennis.
you know, and I keep telling you anything we can do
I
to help just
appreciate
reach
it.
out. And I say this on every show, you agree, you disagree, but vet the candidates. You might be surprised, hey, I agree with this woman a lot more than I thought I would. But the most important thing, get up then, and you got to get out and you got to go vote. So
Yes.
remember that. So
Yes.
for Shelly, I'm Dennis Silvers. We're going to wrap up another edition of Pick Your Politics, and we're going to see you back same time, same place next week. So until then, be safe, everybody, and we'll see you next week. So long.